Hello, everyone, and welcome to the game previews for this game. Hello, everyone. I am Alex, and I am bringing you your game previews for this game. This is the game previews for the championship game. It is Westhawks at Spikers for the championship game this season. We have went a full season with good games, good teams playing, good quarterbacks throwing the football and everything else. And it is time for us to finally see who is going to win this championship game. So let's start off with a couple of details. The Spikers this season were the first team to become the first team this season to start the season as 10 and 2. They were the first team in the season to start off as 10 and 2, and they were also one of the best teams this season. Now, I've been saying all season that this is going to be the best season for the Spikers. And I feel like that this is going to be the greatest season that we've seen from the Spikers. I feel like the Spikers could also pull this off with a championship game victory this season and take home the championship. Or maybe even the Westhawks may take home the championship. We may have a couple of Westhawks fans here. Well, let's get into some details here. The Spikers ended the season as 10 and 2. They ended the season as 10 and 2. By them entering the division round and by them clinching the North Division. The Westhawks ended their season as 9-7-1, and they also went into the division round winning 2 more games, becoming 11-7. So who do we really give the advantage to? Do we give the advantage to the Westhawks, or do we give it to the Spikers? We have to figure out with going through all these details to see who we actually give the advantage to and who we most likely think is going to win this game. So let's go to the playoffs. Everything begins with the division round, which you have to win the division round in order to go to the playoffs. But all division round games have been put in the past files, so we really can't look at them again. So let's look at playoff games. The Westhawks were really put in the playoffs. It was actually 3 last teams to be put into the playoffs, which was the Cheetahs, the Longhorns, and the Westhawks. Those were the last 3 teams in the playoffs. The Cheetahs were the 9th seed in the playoffs, as the Longhorns and Westhawks were the 10th seed. Westhawks had a free playoff seed after the Cheetahs were able to overcome the Warriors 24-21. And then with that being said, the Westhawks also were able to put the Cheetahs to rest with the same score that they beat the Longhorns with. The final score between those two was 31-24. Now, after that, the Westhawks went to challenge the Bear Cubs for a free playoff spot in the playoff semifinals, which they were able to capture over Thunder and eliminated Thunder out of the playoffs entirely. After the Bulldogs beat the Red Wolves in the playoffs, they advanced to the playoff quarterfinals where they went up against the Bear Cubs. First the Bear Cubs went up against the Bears in the playoffs, and the Bear Cubs beat the Bears by 4 points. And then the Bear Cubs went into the playoff quarterfinals, and they ended up beating the Bulldogs by 7 points, which was by a field goal. Then even after that, the Bear Cubs were most likely still in the playoff quarterfinals because they had to play the Westhawks, and the Westhawks beat them by 6 extra points, which was 29-23. Then after that, in the playoff semifinals, the Westhawks were able to overcome Thunder by 4 points, as the score was 35-31. So that was most likely how that started off for the Westhawks. So we are trying to see again here who would most likely have the advantage. And I currently feel like this will be the Westhawks' opportunity to finally get another championship in their name. Or it could be the Spikers. The Spikers have had a good season this year. I have to get that to them. I cannot debate the season that the Spikers have had this year, ending the season as 10-2. That is a good record to end the season. Luckily for the Spikers, they're not the only team, because the Bear Cubs ended the season as 10-7, which they clinched the West Division, and the Bear Cubs clinched the East Division with them being 13-6-1, which is originally 14-1, but they had a tied game in their record. The team who clinched the South Division were the Westhawks, only because they made it to the playoffs. And if the Westhawks would have not made it to the playoffs, most likely the Blue Jays would have been your South Division clinch champions this season, but they are not. And that brings that to my attention. Let's talk about the Spikers. The Spikers begin the playoffs as they took on the Blue Jays at home, which the Blue Jays entered the playoffs as 10-7, as they were able to make their way out of the division round, becoming the South Division champions over the Coyotes. But somehow the Coyotes still had a playoff spot, and they still had the heart to play. The Spikers were at Blue Jays. Spikers beat the Blue Jays 25-24. Originally, the Blue Jays were supposed to beat the Spikers, but really, the Spikers were not going for none of that, and they beat the Blue Jays by 1 point. After all that was said, the Blue Jays went to the Redbirds' hometown and beat them in the playoff quarterfinals, beating the Redbirds 31-28 with a big win over the Xaviertown Redbirds. And that is what originally put the Redbirds out of the high school playoffs. After that, the Spikers went to the playoff semifinals, which is really what made them get into the championship game, as they were able to overcome the Bullhorns by 2 points, beating the Bullhorns 38-36. And that is a very good record for a team like that, especially the Bullhorns were this close to clinching the West Division for high school football, but they most likely did not do what they said they was going to do this season, and they let the Bears clinch the West Division. But it's all good. So let's see. So let's see how many championships these teams have won. Well, the Spikers won their first championship in 1987 after they beat the Coyotes. After they beat the Coyotes 27-22, the Spikers would win their first championship after beating the Coyotes at home 27-22 in 1987. Then let's take it back. Then let's see when they won their other championship. The Spikers won their second championship in 2003 after they put BTA to the Red Wolves, beating the Red Wolves 32-30, which was by 2 points. So that's really all the Spikers have done. They've only had 2 championships games, 1987 and 2003. I think it's about time the Spikers get another championship in their name. Well, let's talk about their opponents that they will be facing tomorrow, which is the Westhawks. Justin Moore Westhawks won 2 championships back-to-back, 2015 and 2016. So they are not new to this championship thing. The Westhawks beat the Blue Jays in 2015, beating them 27-17 to capture the championship. Then in 2016, they beat the Bear Cubs 42-13 to capture their second championship in 2016. So the Spikers and Westhawks are not new to this championship thing. They're not new to this championship thing. So both of these teams are actually ready for this championship game. All that matters is which one of these teams will be taking home the prize tomorrow in West Dubai. In Western Dubai, the championship game this season will be held in Western Dubai. It is Justin Moore Westhawks, Wooddale Spikers 2026 championship game. The 2026 season will begin in August. The preseason will begin in August for the 2027 championship. And then the 2027 season will be coming your way. Who will be your 2026 champions? Will it be Westhawks or Spikers? We find out on tomorrow. Game time, game preview time will begin at 3 p.m. Standard Time. The doors will open at 3:30. The doors will open at 2:30. At the Western Dubai Hartsfield Stadium. The doors will open at 2:30. Have your tickets. Game previews for the game will begin at 3 p.m. And here are your game preview predictions. The Spikers have a 67% of winning the championship game since it's been a while since they've been in the championship, which was 1987 and 2003. The Westhawks is not that far behind. They have a 70% chance of beating the Spikers since the last time they've been champions were 2015 and 2016. It is your championship game. Westhawks, Spikers. Hello again, everyone. Goodbye, everyone. I am Alex, and thanks for watching your championship game previews. We'll see you tomorrow at the Western Dubai Stadium. Again, doors will open at 2:30. Game previews Our game preview talk show for that game will begin at 3 p.m. Kickoff will begin at 4, where the game will start, and we can't wait to see you guys there.